I don't... Oh, you can see the steam rising. Look at that. It's like your own little ASMR before the game. Hey, Wild Fae. There we go. And speak the devil. You gonna come up here? No? You're just gonna hide out of sight? Maybe you'll come up here. Gonna bite my jacket instead. I'm not picking you up. Flop on the floor. Alright. Usually more than... Does it? Oh wow. It's too late. Anyways, yes, hello, welcome. So, I guess I'll just get right into it then. Coffee and switch to tea. I've heard a lot of people have done that. Does, but not a great difference. Oh, if you're gonna bite me. No? Alright. Alright, so. I said before, but welcome, Vampire the Masquerade Night Road. Yes, by Kyle Marquis. I will probably, from time to time, pull up... Give me 1 second. Just to make sure that if I do this, it won't pop up on my main screen here. No, it didn't. Okay. This game has a very... a very unique writing style where it uses very short, quick sentences for action, and to get a very specific image very fast, it uses, well, I guess, very specific examples. So specific that I don't even know what half of them are. It'll list like very, very particular car models or watches. So I'll have a little Google Images off to the side to show you guys if I don't even know what it looks like and can't describe it to you. No, this music is not from the game. The game has no music. This music is from the wonderful Adrian Von Ziegler on YouTube, who always says in his comments that you should feel free to use his music for YouTube and Twitch, even if you monetize your own videos, as long as you give him credit, which I've just done, so. He makes all sorts of music. It's very, very impressive. All right, anyways, let's begin. So, Chapter 1, Just Getting By. Arizona, I-10, heading west. The night of November 1st. Sunrise is at 6:41 a.m., which, as you will learn, is a very important piece of information to know in this game. The game itself, not so much, but as a vampire, you need to know exactly when it takes place. I have not played Call of Cthulhu, but I've had a lot of friends that have, so I know about it. I like it in theory, but I've never actually played it myself. Alright, yes. You're getting ready to pass a diesel Mercedes when the shifter goes all loose. You jiggle a stick and pump the clutch, but it's like holding a dead man's hand. Your old Honda drifts off the highway in a cloud of sand and grit. A moment later, and the engine stalls. Gigi! It's not a dog. I'm so used to living with dogs because I grew up with dogs that I think you can just call them over, but he's just gonna stay in the other room and whine at me like the little asshole that cats can be. You pop the hood and fumble around in the back for a flashlight. Of the hood. Then you realize it's getting light out. You can feel that this poor car, your companion for 10 lonely years, is finished. And if you're still out here when the desert sun rises, so are you. Cars fall apart. So do people. So do phones. You pull out your old iPhone and check the time on the cracked screen. 6:05 a.m. Unlike your poor Honda or the tattered air freshener hanging from your mirror, which used to hide the smell of dried blood, you'll last forever. If you can find somewhere to hide before 6:41 a.m. Rest in peace, Honda. If I believe hard enough. You've been making these courier runs for 10 years, each year making less than the last. Hiding in trunks and storage units during the day, racing down desert highways at night, with messages and parcels on your passenger seat. On your messenger seat, yes. It's been boring. It's felt like getting old, trapped in this body that can never age. Well, you're not bored now. You are. You're even breathing again. Short, frightened little breaths as you watch the sky lighten in the east. Fun fact, in Vampire the Masquerade, vampires don't have to breathe, except for to make sound. Because that's how we make sound. Nerves you thought extinguished years ago fire up again, making your hands shake. You almost feel alive as you check under the hood. The cable clutch is fucked. No surprise there. Maintenance hasn't been a possibility, let alone a priority. And when you look at the engine, you realize that the problem runs deeper than one busted cable. You've been ignoring the warning signs like an old man who keeps coughing and won't go to the doctor. And the engine looks like you're going to look in exactly, you check your phone again, 16 minutes. I feel maybe there's still time. You look around at the dusty highway, the wasteland that stretches out to the black horizon in every direction, and try to recall your mortal life. Something you learned when you still drew breath must have the power to save you here. First, I want to turn on storyteller mode, because that is a lot more like how the actual RPG tabletop game would be played. Without that, we have stats. If I click this button, they won't show up yet because we are still developing our character in this first chapter of the game. But we have stats. But without storyteller mode, it'll simply list what options you have without telling you what stats those options use. And I guess it's more like a text-based immersive game. You have to try to figure out, well, okay, this seems like it involves intelligence. My intelligence is pretty good. But in storyteller mode, it will actually just straight up tell you what stat it uses. Like the Game Master would when they tell you what stat to roll. So, first I'm going to turn that on. Storyteller mode. Okay, yes, exactly. I just explained all of that to you. I didn't realize it would do it for me. You want to come up here? You done whining? Maybe not. My intelligence is not pretty good. You look around the dusty... Yes. I grew up poor, working on cars. Let's see if I can get this engine running for a few more nights. I don't think that's us, though. I had a lot of mortal friends, and I've kept in touch with some. They must have a good idea if I can call one. Or at least they can pull up a map on their phone telling me which way to run. Maybe. I served in the military. In addition to my combat training, I know how to hide and survive in the desert. Jasper makes scratchy sounds. Come on. No. He seems very content. He's just laid down at my feet. I got a good education, and I haven't let my knowledge stagnate now that I'm dead. I use my phone and some maps to figure out where to go. I might go with the same one that I did last time, because I know this will give us social stats. So I had a lot of mortal friends, and I've kept in touch with some of them. I have a specific character that I want to be. Beyond that, if it's like a major plot point that I don't have a specific idea for, I will throw a poll in the Twitch chat. Very content. You bite your thumb and get enough moisture on it to affect your phone's capacitive touchscreen and pull up your contact list. Using a phone can draw hunters. That's why people use couriers like you, after all. But these are all people from your old life, carried like talismans from phone to phone. You haven't seen most of them in years. Sometimes you see pictures of them on Instagram, and they have gray at their temples or wrinkles around their eyes. There are old buildings around here somewhere off the highway. To the right or left? That's the question. And if you guess wrong, you burn. And your torturously slow data connection means you can't pull up anything useful fast enough. If you can just get one of your contacts to run a search on this area, you'll know which way to go. You call Aliette, an old society maven and the mother of a college friend. She keeps odd hours and can pull up a map faster than I can. A rich friend of mine named Rainier, a snob and a bit of a hustler, but he has a good job now, and he owes me a favor. Yeah, right. What does maven mean? I actually don't know the definition. The one I text. I remember a young woman named Chance, who was infatuated with me when I was still alive. I still have her number, and I think I can persuade her to help me. I remember a guy named Radu who ran a mixed martial arts club. We're still on good terms, and he was a smart guy. He must know something. I still follow the career of a scientist named Vanny. I met her just before I became a courier, back when I still kept up my studies, and she owes me a favor. Maven means an expert or connoisseur. I actually did not know that. That is very interesting. This hair is like poking me in the eye. Yeah, I didn't know that. Alright, well this one I actually don't know what it affects and don't care very much which option we choose. So let's make a poll. I'm just gonna go down the list. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right. Lasts for 1 minute. It should appear at the top of the chat. And good news, as always, you can use Goblin Coin to vote multiple times. You want that mug? I love this mug. It's incredible. And it holds the entire fucking teapot worth of tea. It's huge. I don't know if you can really tell that. Maybe. Maybe a little bit. I think I got it from Rogue Plus Wolf. I believe that's the name. Seductively sips tea. About to rig the selection. GG. I don't know if he's coming back. I don't think this candle even, like, I have a little candle here that I also lit, because why not? But I don't think it really stands a chance against the mood lighting or my monitors. Maybe another time. I could move that incense stick over here, though, and have the smoke go, like, right in my face for a dramatic effect. But that would require walking a little bit. All right, what is it? Number 3. Chance, of course. Yes, why not? I do remember a young woman named Chance who was infatuated with me when I was still alive. I still have her number. And I think I can persuade her to help me. What's the smell? What is the smell? It says dark forest. What does that even mean? This was one that Anna actually gave to me off my wish list. Fragrance, notes of oak, balsam, fresh cedarwood, and patchouli. In life, you could be charming and well put together, and you still retain that talent. Though in your current line of work, you rarely have the opportunity. In college, you danced, played sports, had friends. After your embrace, it seems like you've done nothing but drive this damn Honda and beg for blood. The phone rings and rings and goes to voicemail. This is Chance Corelli, St. Basil's Hospital in Phoenix. You don't bother leaving a message. Rather than wait to burn, you grab the satchel with your deliveries and head from the highway, looking for anything that might save you from destruction. An old mine shaft, an abandoned shack, anything. Fascinating. I thought regardless of what I chose there, they would pick up, because they did last time I played this game. But last time I also picked the old woman. The stars to the east are gone, replaced by a blue-purple haze. It's 6:30 a.m. You remember the last time you saw the sun. You were so focused in those days. Life was clear. You knew what you were going to become. And then... the game can't end this soon. I think the game probably can end early. It has 11 chapters in total, probably 12 now that I bought the DLC. It seems like there are opportunities for things to go poorly and stop it short, but hey, looter, welcome. I know you know a lot about VTM. You were working at a coffee shop down the street from a Starbucks, taking a gap year because you didn't have any money and you were having problems with your student loan payments. Ouch. You remember looking out the window at the sunset, turning the windows red gold. The Starbucks was hopping. So was a gastropub next door, and your little coffee shop was empty. And then the sun set, and someone came inside and didn't order anything. When you rose again, burning with hunger and sticky with your own blood, your killer did not call you kindred or Cainite or vampire. First, you learned about your clan, your lineage, a bloodline that existed since before history, before all cities, except one. Oh, sorry about that. What a sad little end to a dramatic paragraph. Your killer said you belong to... Hey, thank you, Anonymous. Being sticky makes me feel horrible. Same. There are 12 options. Jasper to help. Yeah, you guys aren't picking this one, sorry. I might be able to narrow it down to a few things. So, I'll give you the options of Clan Ventrue, the Clan of Kings, Monarchs of the Night, Masters of dreadful mental powers, and Rulers of the Undead World. I'm almost slipping over my words. A little more than what they say here. The Ventrue are, or want to be, kind of the kings of the vampire world. But I believe others tend to refer to them as absolutely unhinged madmen that would do anything for more power. The Tremere. Scholars, conspirators, and blood sorcerers. Probably the smartest group of vampires. And almost, in a way, almost the Lannisters of the vampire world, because they have their entire own little sect within it that they think matters more than the rest of the Game of Thrones. This is a text-based game. Hello, Exy. Tremere. Last time I played a very Tremere-like Brujah, so I'm a little inclined to not play either of those. Clan Toreador. I don't know if I want to give this option because that's the one everyone will pick. Artists, seducers, philosophers of sensation and manipulation. This is the vampire that cares about nothing other than their own looks and that everybody else acknowledging that they have them. They sound like dicks. Every vampire is kind of a dick. Clan Gangrel. Half corpse, half animal. Undead, shapeshifters, and beastmasters. If you want to be a werewolf, this is the closest you're going to get. Also, maybe not that one, though. Malkavian. Can we play? We cannot play the Malkavian. I wanted to, and if that was an option, that would have been what I picked right away. The Ministry. I do not know as much as I'd like to about the Ministry. The Banu Hakim. We're not playing this one just because I know how it plays out, and I should have picked it last time, but I didn't. Descendants of a godlike killer and lawgiver. Sorcerers and assassins. Clan Hecata. Clannish necromancers and merchants of death. Clan Ravnos. Cursed wanderers, tricksters, and illusionists. I think that one could be an interesting choice, given that we are a courier. Like a Skyrim courier. Our entire job is to bring notes back and forth. Clan Nosferatu. That would be an interesting choice, but not sure about it. Hideous but cunning sewer dwellers and information brokers. What they don't say is that the Nosferatu are also insanely strong and insanely fast, and can just choose to not be seen most of the time. Although they are, sadly, the ugliest motherfuckers you've ever seen. The Lasombra. Not picking that one, because that's what I'm picking on the next vampire game that I'm playing already. The dark nobility of an ancient blood cult, now exiled and on the run. And the Ministry. Ruthless, vice-dealing cultists who have recently shed their skin to present themselves as intermediaries and problem solvers. Sounds like cheat mode. Yeah, Jax would be a Nosferatu. It's like vampire messenger pigeon. Yeah, that's basically what we are. With what I have in mind, I think the Ventrue would be the most fun. I'm going to play this, I know this might not mean a lot to most people here, but I'm going to play this through as the biggest fucking Camarilla lapdog that I can, with hopes of romancing the most handsome guy you're going to meet in this game. The most Dracula-like dude. Because I think that is an option. Let's see. I might also do Hecata, I might do Ravnos, or the Ministry. I know very, very little about the Ministry other than they worship the Egyptian god Set, because he was a vampire. Strad? Yeah, so the Ventrue, which I think will make the most sense. As 1, we'll go with Hecate 2, Ravnos 3, and Ministry 4. So let me make a new poll. One, 2, 3, and 4. Strad is such a daddy. It is not Strad in this game, no. But it is a very good character. Yeah, they made Set a vampire, and the Ministry is very Egyptian-based. Or was it Seth? I thought it was the Egyptian god Set, one of the oldest vampires. I crave Vampire Priest. The Ministry or Lasombra is probably the closest that you can get. Fun fact, the Lasombra used to be in charge of the Catholic Church, according to Vampire the Masquerade lore. They're probably still pretty deeply integrated into it. The old VTM. Seth or Seti. Very interesting. I did not know that. Seth Rogen vampire. That's funny. Seth Rogen is a lich. Seth and Set are used interchangeably. Ah, that would make sense. Number 4, the Ministry. Somebody used a shitload of points. All right. This will be interesting. I'm not even entirely sure what the Ministry can do. I just read about them earlier today, which is a real shame. Alright. Don't fail me now, Wiki. What is the Ministry? The Ministry, also called the Followers of Set, or Setites, are a clan of vampires who believe their founder was the Egyptian god, Set. The older the vampire, the stronger they are, with the first vampire ever being Cain himself, the brother of Abel. And Set would have been an antediluvian, making him not Cain's first victims, in which this is called child, or childer, but the ones that came after that, the third generation, Cain being the first. Much of their clan revolves around the idea that one day Set will return and consume the world, or rule it. Hard to say which. Alright, I won't read too much. The Ministry. Very interesting. Also a good choice, though, because the Ministry was one of the DLC clans, so we are definitely going to get into some DLC lore, because regardless of who you pick, you do end up meeting your sire later on. Cultists, fixers, and dark philosophers. The coldly calculating Setites were once more explicit about their worship of the snake god Set. Now, they wait in the shadows, accumulating favors and learning secrets. Disciplines. Disciplines are almost like vampire magic in a way. It's a vampiric ability that is beyond anything a human could ever do. However, it requires human blood flowing through their veins to be able to use, because vampires can't actually make their own blood. Obfuscate. Always unsure how to say that one. I exposed myself. What? Are you talking about Wyvern? Oh, I was like, I have? Obfuscate. Presence and Protean are our three abilities, which, in English, is invisibility, mind control, and Protean is turn into an animal. It's gain animalistic features, not necessarily a snake, but you know what? I'm here for it. Although, Set wasn't the snake god, was it? No, Set was the jackal god. Did I do that? Can you see? No. Clan weakness. Each clan, along with their strengths, has a sort of bane. They're vampires. They're not blessed. They're cursed. This is the curse. Hated by the light. Sunlight causes extra damage to ministers, and they suffer penalties in bright light. Sunlight will kill any vampire, but it's going to absolutely destroy us faster than we can react to it. But apparently, any light source at all sucks. He's a doggish man, not a jackal. Oh, interesting. Okay. Right, Anubis was the jackal. Are you sure about this? Yes? No? So you're gonna die in Arizona. Yeah, it's a lovely place for a vampire to live, right? The desert. Do it? Alright, that's enough. Oh, Jesus. Already a name I cannot pronounce. Edouard, I'm gonna say Edward. Edward Alice Riviere. Cladel Chambet? He's gonna be Edward. Edward could do real magic, and everyone knew it. The people who introduced you to him said he was from Haiti, but when you visited his office to talk about the problem you had, you didn't see any voodoo stuff. Of course, back then you didn't know voodoo from hoodoo, or vitae from vindaloo. You just knew that you owed too much, and that you were in some sort of trouble no one who walked in sunlight could help you out of. So you sat down across from the man, who remained in shadow. Nothing but glittering eyes and the gleam of a silver-polished cane. Ah! Oh, excuse you. I didn't realize this was a possible sire, but I met this man on my first playthrough near the end of the game. Avoided him completely, didn't even have a conversation. I chose to just walk the fuck right out. Sorry. GG. Alright, I'm gonna pick you up because you are like right where I want to be. Oh, yeah, that's better. Half the people who knew about Edward said he was the devil, but he didn't give you a hard sell. The door behind you stayed open a crack, so you knew you could walk out at any time. Edward remained still, listening to your problem even as you started to realize how strange it all was. The way your money had disappeared, the way someone was always there to help you out just at the right time, the way that someone had always made things worse until you were deeper and deeper into a network of debt and obligation. You realized you had been played, strung along, even as you talked to the silent man. You think I did this? Edward finally said. I am not going to give him a French accent, sorry. His accent sounded French, but with undercuts of something older and further away. You think I am the spider at the middle of the web that has ensnared you. The good news is that I am not. You are not so important to trap in such a way, at least, not to me. The bad news is that in order to escape from your obligations, you have to die. I will be giving one character an accent. That's the man we are going to try to romance, because a couple people throughout the game even describe him as having a creepy Dracula-like accent, and it's just too good to not do, even though I can't do it well. Please don't bite. I will put you down if you're going to be obsessed with this button. Okay? Yeah, that's better. I see you looking at it. You have to die, yes. The door remained open. You didn't move. Neither did Edward. He went on. You are being manipulated into the service of a secret society known as the Ivory Tower, Edward said. Oh, he's already very ministry. The followers of Set try to play themselves off as someone who will help you every step along the way, but yet is somehow very evil themselves. Oh, this button now, yeah? You really like those buttons. If I tell you any more, you will be killed. You waited. He went on. They are the dead. The Prince of Houston is responsible for what is happening to you, because he has need of your services. He will promise to make you immortal. He is lying. He will make you his slave, and no slave is truly alive. Edward's eyes glittered. I would like to hurt this dead man, this prince. To do so, I would like to make you immortal. Would that interest you? Through this long, strange conversation, Edward had not moved, and you suddenly had the impression of talking to a mere shadow or a statue. You rose from your chair. Leaving? He said. The door is open. You stepped around the desk. What did you expect to find? A mannequin with a speaker in its mouth? Suddenly, everything felt unreal. But when you approached Edward, he looked like a man. Except, he did not move. Someone leaving? I'm telling the truth. Silly, goofy mood. Please don't whack me. Yes, he did not move. Trembling, he reached out to see if he was alive at all. His skin yielded like living flesh, though it felt bitterly cold. And then he twisted, faster than you could see, and sank his fangs into your wrist. Edward had told the truth, after a fashion. The undead Prince of Houston wanted you, but when his agents came for you, they found that you were already dead. And then, Edward introduced you your new Twilight existence. This was years ago, and he didn't call his clan the Ministry. Back then, they were the followers of Set. Edward's magic was real, but it was the magic of ancient Egypt, of a dead god worshipped as a cold black serpent, of cults that squirmed through the desert catacombs before the pyramids rose, when the Sphinx wore a different face. But in those nights, the Camarillo was ascendant. The Prince of Houston was all but unassailable, despite the tiny victory Edward had won in claiming you. And the followers of Set hid in the shadows, dreaming of lost glory. Don't haunt us with Five Nights at Freddy's, oh dear. In the youth of his eternal life, Edward had been a high priest. And now, for all his reputation, he was just a local wizard. He hated his fall and plotted his ascension through you. He had plans for you as... Oh, very interesting. This is getting deeper and deeper. We get to choose the subset of our clan. Oh dear. Oh, I should put that to use, huh? Interesting. Whoa, yes? What freaked you out there? You good? Oh, plop. Time to go play with that ball. Okay. Oh yes, he had plans for you as his shape-shifting warrior, a fanged companion of the Dark God and muscle against the Camarilla and rival cults. Now, an agent, counselor, and manipulator, responsible for Edward's band of criminals and paid off local politicians, maybe. Well, maybe that first one too. A spy and occasional assassin, sent to monitor and deal with your opposite numbers among the Camarilla. This is, very tragic, given how quickly I am just going to join the Camarilla. I know, my buttons are safe. My buttons, the zipper. Oh, he's just eating. Alright. I heard some crunching over there, got a little worried. Destroy them from within. Never, never. Not with that hunk on the throne. Oh no. Maybe I'll destroy him from within, but if you know what I mean. A dark priest with command over a desperate and pathetic throng of fanatics and fools. I like that one a lot. A researcher and technician tasked with dragging the followers of Set into the 20th century, or at least the 16th. Oh yeah. Dark Priest all the way. I think you guys are going to vote for that one anyway, so we're going with it. Doorstop noise. There is a paradox at the heart of every vampiric faith. From the La Sombra, buried deep into the Catholic Church, to the children of Hakim, masquerading as imams and holy men. And it's this. Everything a vampire does is about getting enough blood to satisfy the hunger. You can believe it or not, but at the end of the night, your flock is your food. One interesting thing you learned in Edward's service is how well vampires with different views of religion get along, assuming they recognized that truth. You met Setites who truly believed in their dark god's cosmic war against the Aeons. You met others who just wanted blood slaves and brainwashed assassins. Among the Camarilla vampires, you met true believers in the God of Abraham and cynical atheists in priests' collars. They didn't waste time arguing doctrine with each other. My heart needed that. I don't say pathetic enough. Edward never let on what he really believed. And you had a temple to run. In those nights at the end of a long, bad century, you had no problem with recruitment. The hard part was finding people who were desperate enough to join an Egyptian mercenary cult, mystery cult, but not so damaged that they would cause trouble. But over the years, as you studied your new religion and honed your mundane and supernatural manipulation skills, you turned your followers from a desperate rabble of violent losers into an almost respectable criminal cult. I'm really glad I picked this, thank you, for the vote. This is so much more depth than I got when I picked the Bruja. I already knew enough about the Bruja that I didn't need this kind of like depth into who I should be. But I knew jack shit about the ministry before today. So it's a nice coincidence that I happen to read about them at work and then learn more about them here. Edward was the problem. He wanted a kind of legitimacy that modern America couldn't offer. Not control from the shadows, but temples to his glory and the glory of Set. What you were going to do, raise a black monolith. Fucking shit, let me start that sentence over again. What were you going to do? Raise a black monolith next to the Dairy Queen? But Edward, no longer a mere wizard, saw his chance to change the world, and he took it, even as the vampires of the Camarilla rallied to stop him. The Camarilla tolerated no evidence of vampire activity, and they didn't care that Setites weren't in their club. Edward wouldn't back down. Maybe he'd become a true believer. Maybe he had expected the old serpent himself to show up. Interesting, so they do believe that Set is a serpent. I'll have to read the lore on that. But you had honed your instincts for bad shit going down as a leader of a cult. And you knew when someone wasn't going to make it. You warned your people to scatter. They didn't. They stood with Edward. So you got the fuck out. I threw that extra word in there for myself because I wanted it. You want ice cream? I would love ice cream. Post-church Sonic. You never saw your sire again. Fuck him. A week later, you walked through the blackened remains of your underground temple, but the Camarilla had left nothing but ashes. So you were a free vampire. Easy peasy, here I come, big man. Of course, there is no freedom while the need for blood remains. You reinvented yourself as just another drifter and did odd jobs for the Camarilla to get by. You weren't a follower of Set anymore. And then, after a few years that didn't even matter anymore, while you weren't looking, your clan changed. The followers of Set rebranded as the Ministry, ditched the iconography and mythology that had meant everything to dreamers like your sire, updated themselves for the 21st century. You became just another fixer, lurking on the outskirts of undead civilization, trying to get by. Are you underneath me? That's okay. You can't listen to me. Hey, thank you, Gani. You know what? That crackling noise... The games do crackle, but that crackling noise is actually from the fire effect on that. Interesting. Breaker. Ministry clan disciplines. I always want to say disciples. Disciplines. Obfuscate, presence, and protean. Ministry clan Bane. Creature of darkness. We already read that. And after all that, 10 years on these miserable desert highways, scraping by on the charity of your elders as you run their errands. You've lost your edge, the clarity of your focus, sacrificing specialization in order to learn trick after trick, in order to survive night after night. Are you coming back? Would you like to come up again? Come on. No? Okay. You're just gonna stare at me and taunt me with what I could have. Oh, hello! You can't see him, but he's right next to me. I'm just gonna give you a little scoop, okay? There, that's better. Boop. Cat time, it is cat time. If you were still alive, you'd be middle-aged. The elders of the kindred are lies wrapped in flesh. Underneath, there is no promise of immortality. You've seen 100 Cainites born into the night, only to die a few months later at the hands of hunters, or their own kind, or just because they didn't know what time it was. Strange that you're going to die so young. The air ripples. It smells like burning metal. You should never have bought a hatchback. Heh. Your mental powers are useless here, alone. You can tell yourself that you're not burning, not yet. But the smell is just the scent of your fear. It's someone else's blood stimulating sweat on your forehead. It's a familiar smell, actually. Metal, rust, blood. You smell blood. You run towards the smell of blood. The lightning sky reveals an old filling station, faded signs banging faintly in the slight wind with a creak of metal. Located just off an old frontage road, its windows have been boarded up for years. You don't see blood, and now you can't even smell it, but that doesn't matter. At the first ruby red light, as the first ruby red light touches the hills, only shelter matters. Maybe you have a chance. So despite that bitch not calling me back, we're going to live. I would be very surprised if you could die in Chapter 1. Yes, a hatchback is a type of car. Got the scoop moved down. GG's going to manage to get... I hope not. Let me just stop my alarm from ringing before it does, because it will soon. Fuck chance. Oh, all done? Yep, alright. Just don't step on the keyboard. Thank you, little man. Do they? Gigi has gotten quite cuddly. Bloop. Though the station looks abandoned, you see footprints in the sand. A golden eagle sits on top of the striped diesel dispenser, watching you with unsettling intensity. As you approach the main building, looking for a way in. You approach the main building. I think he digs the jacket, probably. He's a supreme gentleman, I agree. The windows are all boarded up. Didn't I read that already? And though there's a garage door for a loading dock, it seems locked. The eagle spreads its wings and screams. You don't have time for this. The sun will kill you, but first it will drive you mad. You can feel the beast rising inside you. Ah, yes, the beast. The untamed monster that lurks inside every vampire, that drives you to acts of depravity and violence. You're losing control. You need to act now. But that eagle seems to almost have been put there to guard this place. Its talons flex. The beast inside. Oh, to feel the beast. Ah. Which ability have we happened to learn in our time here? In addition to my supernatural presence, I have developed a gift of fading from sight. I vanish and sneak past the eagle and look for a way in, obfuscate. My mental powers are more than match for this eagle. I invoke the full majesty of Set and drive the eagle from my presence. Presence. And every vampire has fangs, but my shape-shifting arts turn my mouth into a maw full of ripping teeth. I walk past the eagle and bite through the boards. Of the window, yes. Protean. Shape-shifting. But I think we're going to start with presence. Did you find the Kami spies? I was the Kami spy all along. I was the beast within. It has 4 possible endings. Each one of them is kind of weird. Yeah, unalived myself, right. You don't need to say anything. You just stride forward, with the blood burning behind your eyes, and a dread fury of your gaze. Perhaps mingled with a rising bestial terror you feel as sunrise approaches, drives the eagle back. It flaps away with a frightened caw. Without the distraction of the eagle, you're able to move quickly around the abandoned station. You run to the north side, which will buy you a few more seconds before the light destroys you. Hey, Simon. What do you... That is a computer cable. Do not chew that. Little man. Can't believe this. What is getting so strangely worked up? Alright. And there you find... I wonder if I should pick that up too. Did you just eat that? One second. I'm just gonna hope that he won't eat a, one of those like little metal twisties, because I saw him poking at one, and then he moved his mouth in, and then he walked away, and it came with him. Fingers crossed I don't end up at like the emergency fucking vet tonight. Yeah, he heard you saying he was a gentleman, decided to be an absolute asshole. I don't think he must have eaten it. Looks like he's knocked it under a place that he can't reach because he keeps batting under my table. Without the distraction of the eagle. Oh yes, you move to the north side, right. And there you find a single open window. As smoke starts to escape from your clothes, you wiggle inside, then kick away from the hole. A wave of exhaustion hits you as the sun rises fully. The kindred were not meant to remain awake during daylight hours, and you look around for anywhere safe you might rest. You would check his mouth. Should I? You gonna spit it out? Looks like you're not chewing on anything. Well, Uncle Jasper lets me eat twist ties. Yeah. I'll stop soon, go check, but he seems fine as is. It's metal and pointy. I'm sure he would be screaming and gagging if he actually ate it. Be like trying to eat a paperclip that was straightened out. Yes, you look around for anywhere safe you might rest. I am pretty sure it's under the table, but I did not see it go under the table. I just saw him whacking under the table. Do vampires go barefoot? I do. It's way too hot for... This is already way too hot, but hello. Eris? I don't know how to say that name. Kigal? Aresh Kigal? There's an old metal-topped freezer beside a counter here, just big enough to hold you, and sealed against sunlight. Who was whack? Inching around the shafts of daylight that filter through the open window and the gaps in the boards, you wrench the old freezer open. What is getting into this little man? He's now trying to eat the LEDs that I have on my table. Fascinating. I'm gonna have to stop soon. He is getting really worked up over something. Where was I? Yes. You wrench the old freezer open. It smells like expired milk, but you can't worry about that now. You drop into the old freezer and pull the lid shut. Kitty needs playtime. Probably. Then, you mentally inventory all the things you need to worry about. Your ruined car, the ache of hunger in your gums, the smell of fresh blood somewhere in the building, the strange eagle. You may not survive another night, but you survived this one. You survived Edward's dreams of founding a new religion. Then you survived out here in the desert for years. One night at a time. You permit yourself a tight little smile. You can still make it. You can still find a way out of this. And then, the blackness of the day sleep swallows you. I saw the hydrate. What a strange little creature. Alright. I'll do another, 20 minutes or something. Chapter 2. Into the Sunset. I am a strange little creature. Arizona, I-10, heading west. Night of November 2nd. The next day. Sunrise. 6:42 a.m. 1 minute later. If anyone had found you that day in the disused freezer, they would only see a disheveled corpse. And while the sun is in the sky, that's all you are. Vampires look horrendous during the day in this. The blood you got back in El Paso, before you hopped in your Honda, awakens the moment the sun sets. The return to consciousness is instantaneous and agonizing. You open your eyes in blackness. Your limbs are still heavy, as if crushed by the weight of the sun. As you wait, you think about the Camarilla, and you remember what the elders made you do after Edward Chambet disappeared. I love us. Now November Summoner is closer to 7/8. Is it? But that won't be the case after November 6th, right? Oh wait, does it? Daylight savings. You get an extra hour of sleep. Suddenly I'm forgetting how daylight savings works. Arizona, oh, good point. Arizona doesn't change clocks for the winter. I forgot about that. You were desperate then, and you knew you had to obey. They paired you with another desperate young Cainite, a charming young man named Julian Sim, who talked too much. He was something that the other kindred called an Assamite. And back then, you didn't know if that was another clan like the Ministry or another sect like the Camarilla. No one had ever bothered to tell you. Julian had the eager energy of a congressional page and the glittering, patient eyes of a reptile. He was out for himself, and so were you. And that gave you something in common. You remember Julian's lime green geo-tracker crunching to a halt over the gravel. I can show you guys a picture of that. A lime green geo-tracker, because I had no fucking clue what that was. But it's an ugly little car. So this is a lime green geo-tracker. You jumped out and felt the sand beneath your feet, still hot hours after sunset, though the night air felt cool. Julian was well dressed despite the rough work, but back then you always wore the same thing when out in the desert. Coveralls with a name you used, sewn on a patch. Not your real name, of course. That person died in the bathroom of the coffee shop. You still call yourself Rook, Celeste, Vane, Luca, Ransom, or Pyre? Fun fact, Pyre is the name that I used during my first playthrough of this, and whenever I try to get into Card's voice, I have to say Pyre, because it's just such, I don't know why, I just ingrained that in that like thick vampiric accent. But I really like the name Vane. Although Rook is, yeah, missed. Or no, Rook, who do I know? I actually know somebody named Rook. What? Grey Prince Gallant, oh thank you. We don't talk about Card, don't do this to me. I like Vane. Although Ransom is... I don't know. Now I'm sold on Pyre. I can't do Pyre again. Pyre's a very different person. I know who Pyre is. This isn't Pyre. But we can do... I'm up for Vane. Ransom. We'll just go with Vane or Ransom. I was tempted to throw Card in there, but I know that would just dominate the poll. You can make your own name, but I like the names they have here. You almost name yourself Pyre. Ransom. It says random. Fuck. Oh, damn. Misspelled that. I mean ransom, not random. Oh, it does say it on the bottom. Yes, Rogue plus Wolf. That's where I got this from. I was right. Pyre, Ren, or Salem. Those are all good names. My dyslexic ass just went with it. Random. Alright, my name is, no, Ransom. These old coveralls let you pass as maintenance worker just about anywhere. They're better protection from prying eyes than any Nosferatu's invisibility arts. Carrying water. Ooh, this is Julian, yes. I know Julian very well because he's a major character in this game. Carrying water for the ivory tower, eh, Ransom? Julian said with a little chuckle, hoisting the plastic gallon jugs out of the back of the tracker. Each read Buena suerte, or something like that. I don't know how to say that first word. Buena suerte? Like in blue Sharpie. You didn't laugh. This wasn't humanitarian work. Or maybe it was. The desert princes still fear the thing that slept under those sands. They told you that if it woke up hungry, it would tear this land apart. How long you think we're gonna do this? Julian asked. Julian talked too much, but sometimes he cut through the bullshit with words that carried a constellation of meanings. How long? Decades? Centuries? We, neonates, nothing but larvae in the eyes of the Elder. And this awful work. Buena suerte. This is what we become, Julian. We work our way up. But we can work our way up forever in the Camarilla. This is how we survive to see another night, and as far as I see it, it's the only way. This is a little loud. Is the music okay? Do you guys want me to turn it down or leave it? I'm not playing much longer. Trimmer starting Kevin Bacon. Good luck. Oh, okay. I've heard Suerte before, but I have not. I don't know. Buena. Oh well. You're bumping to it, I'll leave it then. Harpsichord ass beat, yeah. That's decent. Nice. Okay. I hate this evil work as much as you do. The Camarilla claims they act for the greater good of all kindred. It's just a lie. You're supposed to be the visionary, Julian. Give me a reason to walk away and I will. No. We can work our way up, but we can work our way up forever in the Camarilla. So it begins. You can turn it down. I'll turn it down just a little bit. It's very loud for me. Never mind. I cannot turn it down. I probably have to turn down my headset. Card slipped out a smidge in there. Did it? Julian laughed at that. You understand that you can't work your way up if no one retires, right? The Prince of Tucson was born the same year as Suleiman the Magnificent. Suleiman? Isn't that an interesting and fun fact? And he's not going anywhere. There's nowhere to move, Ransom. They all have food, they all have the money, all the places to hide from the sun. We have a lime green geotracker. Actually, I do. You have a jumpsuit with someone else's name on it. A hot desert wind whipped Julian's black hair around his head as he counted the gallons of water. The Camarilla gave you a job they considered necessary, even vital. I'm loving the sass. I went full Julian romance last game, so I too loved the sass. He's a very interesting character. I tried to play like a balance between the different factions that you can be the first time I played this, but by the end it makes you choose, and I went head over heels for Julian. You can just side with him, but I dicked him down as well. I mean, maybe I didn't. I played, we'll get there later, but I played, I don't know, an interesting character. Good for you, I'm proud. Thank you. Desperate migrants stumbled through this part of the desert, fleeing violence in Mexico and Central America, with a promise of a better life in the States. Without water, many died. Aid groups dropped water and supplies for the migrants. The year before, the Camarilla had infiltrated and supplanted one of those aid groups, replacing their members with you and Julian. Your job: position the water above the scattered layers of the Nosferatu Elder. The one only known as, and I don't know how else to pronounce it, Riri Mouse, which is a fucking horrible name for something that is actually very dangerous and terrifying. Is your current character male or female? Undecided yet. We choose later. In the previous game, I never chose because non-binary is an option, and I figured why not? This time, though, I think I'll go with a guy. Just because I have, like, an idea of what I want to be. Ray Ramoose. Ray Ramoose. Ray Ramoose. I like Riri Mouse better, though. Get that they, them schmeat. It doesn't matter too much. I mean, yeah, it just changes the... Oh my god, I got something in my eye. At least not that I noticed. I don't think people treat you differently. I think it changes just how people address you, either as him, her, or them. If they do treat you differently, though, that would be a fascinating layer of depth, but I don't think they wrote that much additional dialogue for the game. You little shit. That's basically what I did IRL. Yeah, so last game I couldn't decide, so I chose not to. The victim's claim... The victims he claimed would give him enough blood to prevent his full awakening. So if you don't get the idea of what's going on, good humanitarian groups are leaving water in locations out of the sun for people crossing the border to find so that they won't die of dehydration in the desert. Me and Julian are being tasked with threat of our lives to reposition these water jugs over certain areas where a very old and very dangerous vampire lives, so that when those poor migrants find the water jugs, he comes out of the sand and devours them. This sucks, Julian said, as you checked the GPS coordinates on your Garmin. I mean, I know what we are, I know what we have to do to survive, but this is just so stupid. It's inefficient and wasteful. This is how the world ran 2 or 3 centuries ago, Ransom, before anyone invented flowcharts or assembly lines. Goblet of green tea. It's all gone now. It was horrible work, but what choice did I have? It was either that or be destroyed myself. Though I will never forgive the Camarilla for compromising me like that. Add a goblet to your wish list. I will. It was ugly work, but more people would have suffered if the Elder woke up. So I went back to work. They were just food, why care? It needed to get done, and maybe the smart ones knew just enough to escape. The work was intolerable. I convinced Julian that we needed to find something better to do with our own lives. I couldn't do it anymore. I made up my mind to ditch Julian and this horrible work the moment I got the chance. No. This is grim work. It's upsetting when you realize what you're doing. But the truth is, if that beast does fully awaken unsated, he would destroy entire cities and not just a few very unfortunate immigrants. So I went back to work. You sighed and did what had to be done. Julian always had plans to get out and move up in those nights, but they never seemed to come to anything. And though the Camarilla elders had been cruel, vindictive monsters, they had been right about Riri Mouse. His awakening would have killed thousands. You know, because a few years later, some of the old ones really did wake up. And you heard horror stories, even though you were on the other side of the world. Is this like a morality meter thing? Yes, it's your humanity level. In the actual RPG, Vampire the Masquerade, at least version 5, which is the only one I'm familiar with, your humanity ranges from 1 to 10, technically 0, but if you reach 0, you become an unplayable NPC because you have lost that last little bit of human in your life and are only a bloodthirsty monster that cannot be controlled. A 10 is a humanity level higher than any human, most humans, could achieve. Maybe the most morally perfect human. I'd say most humans probably rest around 7, maybe 8. The further down you go, the more morally gray you become, and the less human you feel, and usually the less human you look. This game does it on a scale from 1 to 5. I found out at the end of the game, I'm pretty sure it's impossible to reach 0. So I don't know if you can end the game early by gaining 0 humanity. But it does affect your endings, of which there are an uncountable amount, I think. So that night, you checked your position on the Garmin one last time, dropped off the water, and got back in Julian's geotracker. A few months later, Julian got his money, though you never learned how. Something to do with a venture capital interested in software he was developing. Anyway, one night he just got up, disappeared, leaving you with a geotracker, a stack of CDs with file names written on them in blue Sharpie, and instructions to deliver them to an industrial park in Austin. You looked up his new company, 2100X, which was apparently located in Denver, but you could never find an address or contact number. And that's been your life ever since. You can move your hands now. You push the top of the freezer open, haul yourself out, and drop silently onto the ground. Your hunger is an ache at the back of your gums that leads right up behind your eyes and threatens to turn into a migraine. You can hold off the beast a few more nights like this, but you'll need to feed soon. Yes, and now we choose. You wander past dusty and empty shelves and glance outside through gaps in the boarded-up windows. You can't see that strange eagle, but you still smell its blood. It's faded, but impossible to ignore. Movement catches your eye, but it's just your reflection in the broken glass of an empty display case. You stare into the eyes of a haunted-looking, eternally young... Let me just check really quick. So these are our stats right now. Yes, so here's the answer to what you're asking. Humanity, on a scale of 1 to 5. I think it will affect how people treat us and how the game ends. Hunger, also on a scale of 1 to 5. The only way you can ever reach 0 hunger is by completely draining a human to the point that they have no blood in their system left and thus are dead. If you reach a 5, you are in an uncontrollable, blood-hungry frenzy. It's not a good thing. Willpower 3, incredible. Last time I played this game, I somehow managed to only have 1 the entire fucking time. Don't know what I did wrong there. Willpower is also how well you can resist getting down to that 0 hunger, because killing somebody is very noticeable. I also have a drive skill of 1. Drive skill of 1 is what I personally have, actually. It's not that bad. Because it's only on a scale of 1 to 3. 3 being an expert. So 2 is probably like, I don't know, street racer. Whereas 3 is probably a rally racer. So we are already pretty damn proficient in leadership, persuasion, and subterfuge, which is lying. So we are not killing humans. It's never a good thing to kill people. Get a little suck off, but leave them unconscious. I killed too many people my last run because I only had 1 willpower and I could not actually stop myself. And it bit me in the ass more than once. So yes, so we get to choose what we are, man, woman, or non-binary. I think it would be very amusing to be a man this run through, just because we are going to be seducing the biggest hunk of a man in this game. Blood dolls are a thing in this game. I don't know if you can get one yourself, but they do exist. Are you not an expert driver? You have a geo-tracker. Yes, that is a violation of the Masquerade to openly kill a human, because how on earth does a human die by losing all of their blood? That's an interesting situation and makes people ask questions. Yeah, so I'm leaning towards man. If you guys want to put it up to a vote, though, we can. I have absolutely no issue being a woman or a non-binary, again. Is that okay to say, a non-binary? A non-binary person? I should add the person on the end of that. Like I said, I don't think it affects actual dialogue in the game. I think it just affects what pronouns people use when they refer to you. Open to whatever. I'd like to go with man just because I have a character in mind. Mr., Miss, or MX. How would you pronounce that? Random is such a... It is. A lot of the names here are very non-binary. It's okay what you said. Okay. Mix. I could put it as a poll if you guys want. Mix. Oh, I misread that. Mix. You have a character. Yeah, I do have... like I said, it doesn't really change anything. Go for it. Are you sure? I think it just means you'll see he or him. Alright. Is it too late to change my names? Because random is my essence. You look like shit. Hey guy, you look like shit. Bloodshot eyes, skin pulled back from your nails and teeth, thrift store clothes, even your satchel looks like someone dragged it down a highway. You check the satchel. Your deliveries, the USBs, are still in there. Then, you hear a sound outside. A few whispered words in Spanish. Weeping. Thank God. Food. They must have pulled some boards away to get inside, then covered them up so no one from the road spots their flashlight. You're in the middle of the disused convenience stores, 3 aisles, invisible in the darkness. True, I don't know. Invisible in the darkness. At the far side of the store, a short hallway leads to 3 doors. A locked bathroom, straight ahead, and then 2 doors. One to the left and one to the right. You guess the left door to a storage room, leads to a storage room. The mortals are trying to get it open. If you don't bite the victim, don't bite the victim. Remember that a vampire bit them and leave them alive. Yes, that is definitely a violation of the Masquerade. That's why most people tend to knock their victims out before they drain them. We'll get to choose later how we choose our victims. That's also a very big part of Vampire the Masquerade in developing your character. You count 4 of them. A man and a woman in their mid-20s. An ancient woman and a frail and gray-haired older man. Even smaller than the old woman. Cries in Spanish. The younger woman whispers something in Spanish you don't catch, then forces the storage room door open with a shriek of metal. Not much here, the young man says, sweeping the storage room with his flashlight. He's traveling heavy. Crowbar, backpack, water bottles, road flares. Those are your road flares. They must have found your Honda. All your messages are being silenced. Why is it blocking bite them? Whoever they are, they're foolish or desperate to bring a woman in her 70s, at least, and a guy who isn't built for this kind of work. You're surprised that they're this far north without having already made contact with someone. The young woman starts jiggling the handle to the bathroom, which is between the storage room and the office. Bold and fearless, the old man hobbles down one of the aisles. And your beast screams behind your eyes. No bite talk. Yeah, I guess not. I can sneak up on him and drain what I need before anyone knows what happens. I just need a little to take off the edge. He'll be fine. I should be strong enough to grab the old guy without him making a sound. And once my fangs are in, he'll go limp. I go for it. Take just a little blood. I'm not going to risk a snatch and grab turning into a massacre, or a tired old man's heart suddenly stopping. I stay hidden. Or there's too many of them, and I'm not taking any risks. I stick to the shadows and watch them. Or I can't risk violating the Masquerade, the undead code of secrecy and silence, by revealing what I am. I stay hidden. The Masquerade is very important. Just one fix. Oh dear, everyone is screaming for this. Eat, eat, eat. Alright. What are we good with? Dexterity? But no clandestine. We're a very social vampire, like I was last time. This time I want to be a little more physical too, because there's definitely situations where that fucked me. I guess it can start now, right? I should be strong enough to grab him without making a sound. He's ancient, he's frail. What happens if you get caught breaking the secrecy rules? Then you get killed by your own kind, because you are a risk to all of them, and they don't want to die. I have no self-control. That's why I'm eating Dairy Queen. You need to feed while you're still in control of your actions. You wait until the others go into the storage room, taking most of the light with them. Then rush the old man, hands ready to wrap around his mouth, so he does not scream. Though the man isn't in good shape, you worry even as you close in that you're not strong enough or capable to pin him before your fangs sink in. Then, when you're one step from the old man, you hear the young woman at the bathroom door shriek, and then you hear the crunch of bone. The old man sees you and howls in terror. Before he can run, what's left of the young woman flies down the aisle, missing you by inches and splattering your face with blood, and knocking the old guy to the ground. He doesn't get up. You absently note that the woman's corpse is already drained of blood. Then, you turn to confront the thing in the bathroom. The kindred of Clan Nosferatu are never beautiful, but this one is particularly hideous. Stark naked and so tall that he has to stoop to get out of the room, with a flattened skull and huge bat-like ears that make it impossible to imagine what he looked like in life. And then you look into his flat black eyes and realize that there's nothing there. That's what happens when you reach zero humanity, by the way. April 2007. 13 years ago. I believe this game takes place in the modern day. It was made in 2020. I think it takes place in 2020. In the end, we're weaker than they are, Julian says, watching a trio of teenagers cross the 7-Eleven parking lot. He sips blood from his extreme gulp. Please tell me somebody out here knows what that is, because it's just very funny that I love everything about Julian, his fashion sense. 15 years, Jesus Christ, it's not... No, 2020. 13 years ago in the game, sorry. Everything about Julian is fantastic. It says he wears anime shirts regularly. At one point he's wearing a Berserk hoodie. But yeah, his extreme gulp, sometimes called the big gulp. It is just way too funny. Here's a picture of a guy holding one, just so you can get an idea of how big it is. But I just find it very amusing that he's drinking out of this. That thing's enormous. Time to accept the massacre. Yeah. Yeah, those things. In the end, we're weaker than they are. I mean, spiritually, we're weaker. We're like scurvy victims or something. We can't heal. The beast, you say. Hey, KCB. Holding a giant bloody gulp is hilarious. Yeah, it is. I'm not going to ask you what you've done in its grip, Julian says, or what you've done on your own, blamed the beast for. But I know the beast will eat you if you're not careful. It'll eat your soul and leave behind your eyes. And live behind your eyes. When that happens to one of us Canaanites, the Camarilla call them whites and hunt them down. And the Assamites, you ask. I don't know, Julian says. I never had the courage to ask. I think it shows a picture of Julian later on, so I won't spoil it, but he's just a very amusing character. There's drawings of some of the characters. I don't want to check it now, because for some reason the game is a little bugged and shows like one character that you don't meet till chapter 3, right at the very beginning. How will the monster eat me? Big gulps are so big. Yeah, it's also sometimes known as a big gulp. The Nosferatu, the mindless wight that had once been a Nosferatu, spots you. But then it turns, and though you cannot see the tough-looking young guy and the old woman, you know that they're cornered in the storage room. As the dead woman's blood runs down its chin, the creature weighs its options. It turns towards the storage room, moving awkwardly because a huge iron chain is fastened around one of its legs. Then something lashes out of the darkness, and the wight reels back, more in surprise than pain. The young man strikes the creature again with his crowbar. That won't be enough to fend off a monster like this. These people will be dead in moments, and then the fallen Nosferatu will turn its mindless rage on you. A pet Nosferatu? Is this like someone's pet? Ah. In the same sense that all of the Space Boys were once someone's pet. So here's our first thing. This is storyteller mode, by the way. These little brackets, it tells us what we do. So let's see what our options are. I grab the chain and haul the wight backwards to protect the people in the storage room. Strength, athletics plus combat. I believe the slash means that it takes the lesser of the two. There must be another way out. Using my knowledge of how this place should be laid out, I look for a way to get us to safety. Intelligence plus academics. I shout and rally the young man to fight off the wight. The road flares. That will do more against this monster than a crowbar. Charisma plus leadership. I use my unnatural aura of magnetism to rally the man with the road flares. Presence. One of our disciplines. I get the wight's attention, then lure it away from the mortals and slip back to the shadows. Dex plus clandestine. Why not just flex the power of our vampiric curse right away? Roll a d20 to run and hide. Yeah, Vampire the Masquerade doesn't actually use d20s. It uses exclusively d10s for everything. The better you are at something, the more d10s you roll. And the hungrier you are, the more of... Usually you roll black d20s. The more hungry you are, the more you add in red d20s, which can either painfully act against you or aid you in kind of berserker blood rage state. Hydrate. All right. And I will stop very soon. I love the sound of a d20. The blood surges to your head and burns on your tongue as you shout, "The road flares." Sorry, you shout that. "The road flares!" You're shouting to him. When people get scared, they can behave irrationally. You know, because you've scared a lot of people. I do have my own big gulp, yeah, basically. Sometimes they freeze. Sometimes they repeat stereotyped routines even when in mortal danger. And sometimes they do whatever they're told. I forgot, I did this option last time. That sentence is very familiar. The man does what he's told. You can't quite see him from where you're standing, but you see the fallen Nosferatu suddenly illuminated in red light as the man ignites the flare. The beast is not just rage and hunger. It's also fear. Wild, irrational animal fear. A road flare cannot seriously harm this monster, but the beast knows that fire can destroy it, surely as sunlight. Even you feel a shock of terror, and the white is nothing but its primal urges. It howls and flees, ripping away its chain in haste. You duck just in time as steel links fly past your head. Mad with fear, the creature smashes through the boarded-up front door and disappears into the night. A more serious question. What kind of vampire would you be in this world? You know, I think there's an official quiz. Oh, yes, here we go. It's right on the front of their homepage. Let me see. Oh, that's a disgusting link. I'm just going to copy and paste this. It looks like the homepage of the website has a couple like rolling options, but 1 out of 4 is the quiz. Last time I took this, I got a Malkavian, the absolutely insane, unhinged vampires that hear voices that belong to other Malkavians. But I don't know. See, the answer's not really yours. You don't decide which clan you're going to be. It's the sire that picks you. So I think arguably anyone could be perceived as any different clan. It just depends on the sire's perspective. I am a big fan of the Brujah, though. The once philosopher kings who dated back to, well before it, but they were the rulers of Athens once, literally the philosopher kings, and now are mostly the stereotypical biker rebel that stands up for the small people. But honestly, all the clans are so well developed. It's very hard to choose. I also, of course, love the Toreador. The vampires that are just obsessed with looks and everything. But yeah, last time I played this, I picked a Brujah, which is probably why I like them so much, is because I got to know them. So I imagine after this, I will like the Ministry. Although the Gangrel is also very fun, a vampire just obsessed with animals, to the point that they can control them and become them themselves. Where was I? The old woman says something in an indigenous language that you don't understand, then kneels down beside the dead woman, takes out a crucifix, and offers a quiet prayer. You watch the ineffectual trinket swing back and forth on its chain. The younger man looks outside to make sure the Nosferatu won't return, then remembers his elder and runs to him, limping from his injuries. The old guy moans and his eyes flicker. You have 1,000 questions and one problem. Where did the Nosferatu come from? Who chained it up? Was it imprisoned here because it had become a white, or did it lose its mind during imprisonment? And what are you going to do with these people who just saw a blood-stained, bat-eared monster kill a woman? Unfortunately, leaving them alive would be a violation of the Masquerade. And as I am playing a Camarilla Lapdog, this game, I cannot leave any witnesses. So I kill them. I kill them all. And then I feed. May 2002. I think actually in part it was the Elder Brujah that made me like the Brujah so much, because I chose that same option, and each time you do something, you learn a little bit more about your clan and who you are. And the Brujah, in this flashback that I had, basically scolded me and said, don't fuck with people. They're just people. Can't pick one of the Sabbat clans. Oh, we could have, though. We could have been La Sombra, Brujah, Gangrel. The Sabbat are quite a mix, and in V5, fading quickly. They're not nearly as strong as they used to be. Sounds like a bomb-ass drink. But yeah, so I do like the Brujah mentality. Although they're probably too aggressive for me. I'm a very non-confrontational person, and the Brujah are anger supreme. Like vindictive anger. People are slaves to convention, Edward muses, knife poised above the sacrifice. Hey there, Ivy's awesome. You shift the heavy bronze ritual sword uncomfortably in your hands, not trying to show visible strain, as it might anger Set, or whoever's watching. You are so hungry and the man on the table is ruddy and sweating. And yet it seems sometimes hard to know what is conventional morality. I almost said mortality. Morality, which you must shed, and what keeps you safe from the beast that wants to eat your soul. The morality you taught is not real, Ransom, but consequences are real. Murder feeds the beast, and a strong beast will destroy you. And that lowers our humanity. I'm sure it's gone down. Yes, we had 4. Now we only have 3. If you reach zero morality, zero humanity, the beast wins, and you become like that Nosferatu. Hey, thank you, Anonymous. Even killing to feed will weaken your spirit and let the beast slip free. And that would be a waste. But killing to survive, when the knives are out, that is our nature. Embrace it. In moderation, you might even want to pursue those opportunities. You glance from the bound, writhing man on the altar to the knife of meteoric iron in Edward's hand. And your sire smiles. This isn't exactly killing to survive, after all. I know what you are thinking. What am I? That I can perform such acts without flinching? Am I far from humanity now? Oh, I am far from humanity now, Ransom. My soul's laws are different from yours, and one night you will take up this knife and wield it in glory. But now you are too weak. You would not understand what you did. Right now you are barely more than an animal. So we begin, not with a lesson for gods, or even a lesson for mortals, but a lesson for animals. For now, Ransom, you must avoid acts of atrocity, but you must also survive. So try to survive, little animal. Interesting title for us. The knife flashes down, severing the leather cords, strapping the man to the altar. He doesn't hesitate for even a second before leaping to his feet and rushing at you with a howl of rage and fury. You take the man out first, since he's the strongest. You hit him from behind and get his crowbar, back to the present. The rest of your work is quick and bloody. And then you feed. You feel awake and alive for the first time in years as the blood trickles across your gums. It coats your throat, then crawls up behind your eyes into your skull until it feels like your hair stands on end. You close your eyes and savor the feeling because you know how rare it is. Tonight, the hunger is abated, and the beast, is quiescent. But you didn't do it for your own selfish needs, you tell yourself. They needed to die to preserve the Masquerade. The work was ugly, but necessary. This sort of thing happens from time to time, and you know what to do. You find a knife and some tools, and hack up their bodies so it looks like an isolated act of brutality. Common enough out here, and not like a vampire drank their blood. You take a moment to enjoy the blood on your teeth. And that is how you get zero hunger, the one and only way, by killing somebody, and losing yourself just a little bit more to the beast. You check your iPhone. It's broken. You take out the SIM card and destroy it, then destroy the spares you carry. You wear a watch because sunrise is never far from your mind, and yes, that's broken too. Then you check your satchel, but the USBs are all there, all safe. Sated, for the first time in years, you check yourself again in the cracked glass of the empty display case. There's blood on your hands and face, and clumps of gore in your hair, and your shirt and jeans are in tatters. You try the sink in the bathroom, but the water has been shut off for years. After a few minutes, You find some cleaning supplies. Being dead, you don't worry too much as you scrape blood off your face with a sponge. After a few minutes, you look like an escaped mental patient, but not like a Romero zombie. No one in their right mind would pick you up as a hitchhiker, but you might be able to reach town. You head back to where you left your car. But it's gone. Instinctively, you check the satchel one more time, but everything is there. Everything that just happened was a distraction, someone else's problem. You can reach the outskirts of Tucson before dawn, and from there, you can make your way to the new Prince's Court. Just deliver these USBs, and you make enough money for a new car. You'll be able to keep doing this, night after night. You start walking. And as that is the end of the chapter, I'm gonna stop there. It's getting late. I gotta go to bed. I will see you later. Oh, didn't mean to pause that. There we go.